party's going on.
My name's Roy. You say boy or Roy?
Welcome to Stories from the Vault.
You can take the boy out of full Walton Beach, but you can't take full Walton Beach out of the boy.
Hosted by Sean Murphy.
This is my chicken. All the eggs you want,
Oh, we
baby.
about to make a mistake?
Sure, he was out of the
This is still sketchy as fuck.
Let's just go. Dude, you're the boss.
Yeah, this thing is gonna be
He's a
dark.
hooker with a heart of gold.
Prepare yourself. This is gonna be like a trip through time.
Does it sound good?
Perfect.
These new
Sound
fucking.
good.
So Boludo got new mics because Woofy said his were subpar. So now we have SM 937s, 975s,
Industry standard.
industry standard. It's technical shit you guys wouldn't know
Yeah.
about it. Don't worry, it just sounds good. That's all you need to fucking know.
Yeah. I wasn't setting foot in this fucking set unless you had these
Hey.
in hand.
Today we're here talking with Shane Reynolds, who's one of my closest buddies that I like to say we've traveled the world together, but I like to say I've been a lot of places. Motherfucker's been to like 50, how many countries?
It's between 60 and 70, actually.
And I Googled it and I didn't even know there was that many countries. I thought there was like 5 countries.
No, there's...
Is that continents?
That's continents. And there's 7 of those.
Yeah, so Shane's he's done many TV shows, worked for the Travel Channel, Discovery Channel, been doing this shit for almost as long as I've been doing photography, which says a lot. I mean, since the 90s, probably
Yeah,
early
late 90s.
And I was asking Shane the other day, like, one of the things I was curious about was like how do you do, like, in the 90s, like what was like. It's so easy to film a video now. Like, how would you do that shit? Like in the 90s, if we were gonna do like, I don't know, fucking.
I went to University of Florida and it was supposed to be this really fucking great film school, right? And I got in there and quickly realized that it was a great news production place, and that's not ever been an interest of mine at all. So we were in this production side of things, creative production side of things, and what they had was the tape to tape VHS to VHS machine with a little bay that would just set your in points, set your out points, record it to this third deck kind of thing, which was archaic when I went there.
But you weren't actually cutting film.
There were times we had radio stuff that we were doing we'd literally cut the tape, get masking tape, take the part out you don't want, tape it back together, roll it up, and go. So it's
It sounds like a lot of bullshit.
it was, and I remember sitting then, even back then, just going, man, if I only had this little edit suite, I'd be fine, because I got so good on it. So I think about it now, I'm like, holy fuck.
Yeah, it was crazy.
It's crazy, the shit, but I also appreciate the fact that I did it, because I understand how it works in an analog situation. So I think a lot of times now people just digital does it for you and no one really understands why.
Right, and that's we were talking about. Who was that? Was I talking about you, Bluto? We were talking about. I like the knowing where shit came from, because if you don't know where it came from, you don't know why you're doing shit now. So in other words, like, I'm not putting the kids down these days. I mean, how would you know how to shoot fucking film and print in a dark room and know the color wheel and all that shit? But they're just hitting presets in Lightroom, and it's like, oh, this looks cool. There's an Instagram thing, blah, blah, blah. But for me, if I'm shooting something... what the fuck was that?
The tire's gonna blow.
If I'm shooting something, I don't know, whatever, a portrait, and in my mind I'm already like, this is gonna be fucking black and white.
Right.
I'm gonna make the wrinkles pop out. And back in the day, if I was shooting you and I go, oh man, I want him to look fucking weathered, I put a green filter on my camera, because that enhances the contrast of the wrinkles in the skin, and I would shoot it with a Tri-X 400, whatever, and available light, and it just kind of makes that old weather kind of vibe. And now you can just kind of bump up the clarity. There's other workarounds, but in other words, I already know the end process before I take the photo. So I did that with film. What is it, black and white or is it color? What type of film is it? How am I going to develop it, process it, expose it? What paper am I printing it on? What contrast filter? All that shit. So I think it was the same with you. Like, was there different stocks and shit? Like, or was it just a standard fucking?
It's almost the same thing. It's knowing where you want it to be at the end and having to figure out like tangible ways to get there. You know what I mean? Just like you said, it's just, okay, I'm gonna have to like draw this on a folder and let it fall, you know, while I set this up on a tripod to make it, because it's got to be real. Like, there was no digital to it,
right?
So, you know,
one of these. Hey, Philip, can you grab that fucking in that big ass bin over there? There's a big fucking thing in there.
You know what he's saying.
The big bin and look inside. There's a big thing. I bet he's gonna pull out the right thing. Watch. Now the big bin. It's got a lid on it.
Okay. What's inside it?
You'll see.
Oh yeah.
Big Ben. It's right next to Parliament.
Real solid.
Are you talking about this?
Real what?
Really solid.
Sounds good.
Yeah, it sounds really good. Y'all just keep
Give me that. Is this one of the thing? What is this?
Oh yeah.
Is this like what you fucking rocked?
That was more of the high school version. Yes, that's.
Look at this shit. It looks fucking tight, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, if that's
It looks.
the 90s.
That actually looks fancy again.
Wait a second. Look at this fucking bullshit.
I mean,
This is a good shot right here.
yeah. You look at.
Hey,
You
did
have
you get a picture of this, Philip?
these little boxy black magic cameras.
Yeah.
You know, that looks way fancier than what you're
Should
shooting
we
with
use
now.
this again?
You could
What is
set it
that?
up.
It was in the...
DJ Kyoki. I got some fucking
That's
crazy
the 90s
stories.
right
This
there.
was talk about being. This is when I got roofied.
By Kyoki?
Yeah.
Not by Kyoki.
No. You want to hear?
Is it true that all DJs have herpes
wanna-
too?
Oh God, is that where I got it? Hey, you want to hear a real quick one?
Yeah.
But a quick one before the quick one.
Yeah.
So DJ Kyoki, superstar DJ Kyoki. What's up, dude? If you're watching or listening, this isn't a bad story about him. But remember back in the Club Kid days, there was what's the movie with Macaulay Culkin?
Club Kid.
Club Kid.
Yeah.
You know, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
For real?
I think
It's
so.
about the story about the club
The guy
kid
that killed the other
he
club
guy,
kid?
put him in a suitcase and threw that over the bridge.
Yeah.
And there was a group of club kids.
Yeah.
Well, Kyoki was part of that. And he was one of the kids. And there was another guy named James St. James. And he was part of this club kid clique as well.
Right.
A couple others. But James St. James, he has a really cool, also on Sirius XM, I think number 202, James St. James does this really cool show. And he talks about fashion and kind of the olden days. It's really rad. But anyway, James St. James, to put a pic, you have to Google this dude, but he floats. He's like super like, kind of just floats around. He's really like, he like floats about a foot off the ground from everyone else and just kind of does. You don't even see him walking. He just drifts around. Anyway, Kyoki had this house up in Laurel Canyon, kind of by if you know Laurel Canyon, there's like a little country store there, and that's a lot of weird celebrities live there, old musicians, kind of. It's a weird scene. Like you may see like Nina Hagen eating breakfast with Angeline, who's the billboards of her where she drives the pink Corvettes. She's like a self-made. Does anyone know who that is? Anyway, it was a weird place. But Kyoki had a little house up there somewhere. And I would go over there and, we'd do pictures and get weird and party a little bit here and there.
Party.
So anyway, one night I'm doing his album cover and we're talking about, he's like, we always would call each other, hey man, let's hang out and talk about what we're fucking doing with the album, And so I'd go to his house, tell my wife, I gotta go to fucking Kyoki's house. We're gonna talk about some creative shit. Anyway, I walk in his house, and there before me was Kyoki in all leather. He has a little dog wearing all leather, like a little bondage outfit with spikes on it. It's a little tiny dog, and he has a leather vest on with spikes all over. And then there's James St. James, and I'll never forget, he had these earrings that were like these long silver horns, and he had a bald head, and he was wearing some flowy shit, and he was just like half asleep, and he was like, "Hey man, you know what's going on?" And there was chicks there that kind of were wearing these old-fashioned maid outfits. I was like,
Yeah.
what the fuck is going on? Am I in a fucking Fellini movie right now? Like,
Were there any actual red flags, or were they all just mental?
this wasn't a red flag to me. I was just like, this is kind of normal shit. But I thought maybe, I don't know, are we doing a photo shoot or what's the deal? I didn't even really think about it.
Yeah.
My memory is fucked up anyway, but this
Right.
is what I remember.
Right.
And so I walk in, there's a glass table there. Kyoki's, he has a dungeon, a real dungeon that's made with these rocks and shit. You go down this kind of ladder, and then it's rock walls. It looked like fucking Buffalo Bill, Silence of the Lambs shit.
Yeah.
Like, you're like, where's my lotion? Like, kind of,
Right.
you got some lotion, you know? And you go down there, and anyway, there's a glass table, and there's a pile of powder on the table. I go, fucking A. I guess we're partying.
Yeah.
And I just cut this giant line of what I thought was coke. I woofed it down. Didn't feel anything. And I just remember St. James' face kind of like, oh, okay. Like, here we go. And then I did another one. And then all of a sudden my hearing went, doo. And I'm like, no, that wasn't coke. And I fucking...
That hit you on the second line?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the music, he started spinning music, and I go, like, I remember him just seeing Kyoki with all of a sudden then there was a light show. It was like you're in a fucking club. There was atmosphere, shit was
Right.
going on, and I see him spinning, you know, doing the DJ thing, you know. And the music's getting weird, and I'm starting to get tunnel vision. And I climbed down into the dungeon, which I probably should have fucking climbed out a window.
Yeah, that was...
Instead of down into the dungeon.
Right.
But I climbed down into the dungeon, and I laid down in the bed. There was a bed there. I was just fucking falling into their hands, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Perfect plan.
I fell down, and then I was fucking paralyzed. Like, I couldn't move, but I could see. I had enough energy. I do remember I had enough energy to make one fucking phone call.
Yeah.
And I called this makeup artist friend of mine, Davey, and he knew Kyoki and them too, and we all worked together.
Yeah.
And I don't remember what he said, but I just made the call. And then I remember the maids were around me with a feather duster. Like it was, and all I remember is them walking around me in a circle, dusting me. While the Kyoki's playing music, and then St. James is floating around dancing, and there's lights. And I was like,
That sounds like shit they do in Peru now.
this is gonna get fucking weird.
Like, people pay money for that shit.
This is gonna get fucking weird. And then, what did you say?
I just did that.
Ayahuasca?
No, I didn't do the drugs, but I got the feathers and shit just now, a minute ago. Like yesterday. I'll tell you
Did you do
later.
drugs?
No.
Did you do ayahuasca?
No, it's all natural. But he was,
So, anyway, Davey comes in, and he looks... Remember that band, Gene Loves Jezebel, from the 80s?
I think.
I'm so fucking old. So Gene Loves Jezebel from the 80s, they had this hair, like these big mohawks with this hair that was twisted into feathers and shit in it. And this dude, Davey, weighed about 110 pounds wet.
Right.
But he was like 6'1", makeup, like really flamboyant. I don't know, he drove a convertible Thunderbird.
Yeah.
He came in and fucking picked me up like a baby. Like, he got superhuman strength. He realized, this is about to get fucking serious, like aggressive. Something's about to happen. He looks concerned. He pulls me out of there, takes me home, brings me to my wife's house, and like I don't know what.
So he saved the day.
He saved me, and, like literally from. I think my butthole was about to get.
Yeah, well, you were paralyzed. Could you feel your butthole?
Sorry, we got off.
Were you checking in on that? You're like, oh my.
Did we just get off topic? How do we spin back around?
And the next morning, my ass hurt. And
Well, Rafi just found that, so I thought that was an interesting
Yeah,
story.
that is.
Was DJ Kyoki.
Oh, Kyoki. I remember people going and seeing him. I was at University of Florida. Kyoki. He's
Technically,
the
you
shit.
didn't get roofied. You roofied yourself.
Yeah, I roofied myself.
Yeah, you.
It was Special K.
That's what I figured.
I was in a K hole.
I figured it was ketamine.
But it was like that was like a Roadrunner trap. It was just like
Yeah, they knew
Murphy's coming
gonna
over.
be-
Just put a stack of
just
shit.
just put a pile of white shit on a table.
He'll do it
fall-
himself, and then none of us will get in trouble. Like it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, and it worked. I did it.
I feel like you told me a scarier version of that story at a certain point.
What? See, in my mind is playing. What did I tell you?
I don't know. It just
Did I get
sounded
raped?
scarier. No. And I thought you called Steve Stickler.
Steve was there. He was there.
Yeah. I thought Steve Stickler saved you. You said you could make one phone call.
No,
Someone was
I
about
called.
to rape
I
you.
called Davey, but Steve. I think I also called Steve. But Davey put me in his car, but Steven was there, and I don't remember what the fuck happened. What? Is there a dick on it? What's going on?
It's funny that you're holding that and telling the story.
Serious as shit. No, Steve was there.
Steven was there. He was there.
It's a symbol of
But I don't
nostalgia.
remember. So I was in a K-hole. I don't remember what really happened, but I do remember Steven was there and Davey was there. Maybe Steven helped Davey put me in his car. I don't recall. But
You were certain you were about to get raped when you told me
yeah,
this.
I was certain, pretty certain.
I still feel like he got
This
that.
is a family show. I don't want to go down.
Oh, bullshit.
I don't want to get too dark.
My ass.
I don't want to get too dark.
It's a certain kind of
That
family.
was one of the and I got roofied in Guatemala too, and that was fucking serious.
Was this on your own, or was this unknown?
I got roofied by prostitutes.
To roofie yourself.
I'm still wondering if this was self-inflicted.
I was at a church mission. I was at a church mission.
Well, yeah. What else do you do now down there,
I hope my mom doesn't
other
listen
than church missions
Well,
and drugs
to
and
this.
hookers?
Yeah, that
Saying roofied gives this like kind of association to it, like you were the victim of something, you know?
I was
right.
a victim in Guatemala.
Okay.
They stole all my money and my everything and my clothes and
But
my
how-
So you were in
My shoes.
So you were in Guatemala.
yeah
On a church mission.
on a church. I was in Guatemala. I gotta talk about Shane. You don't just. I could go on. I could tell drug stories
I can
all night
edit
long.
this.
I'm not that interesting. Let's hear the fucking Guatemala shit.
So you're in Guatemala.
We're in a church mission, and I think I'm trying to be sober, maybe. I can't remember again, but I was bored, and I was like, we were staying off the Pan American Highway somewhere with all the people from my mom's church, and there was like these dudes with AK-47. You know how they do there, with they have like a gate and they have a security guard and shit.
Yeah.
And so there was a couple of young kids that were younger. I was like 30. They were probably like 20. Like a young nurse from like Wisconsin, and like some dude that was 18, and then like a 30-year-old Guatemalan doctor that was also with us. And I somehow was like, "Hey man, you want to get weird or something? Like, can we go out? What's going on in Antigua? Is there any kind of shit going on?" He's like, "Yeah." He goes, "Like, call my friend." I don't think he talked like that, but I gotta call my friend, man. You just 1 minute. So then he taps me. He goes, "Hey man, we're like eating food or something." He goes, "We're meeting up by the back wall at in like 20. My friend's picking us up." So I'm like, all of a sudden the like little white lily chick from Wisconsin and the kid were next to me. They're like, "We're going too," and I'm like, "Fuck." So me and the two kids and the doctor get in this fucking car, and we drive like an hour into Antigua. I'm like, I don't know what night it was, doesn't matter. Nothing was going on. It was like these cobblestone streets and all that shit. I was like, where the fuck are we going?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden we get to this old building. There's this arched, big, like cool wooden doorway. You know how you've been to Antigua, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And so, it's all just like kind of weird, old Gothic,
Right.
ancient. And so he gets to this big wooden door, knocks on the fucking door, and all of a sudden you see lights and beat and the bass. I'm like, all right, here we go. And like we go in, and it's just fucking 1,000 people everywhere on tables, raging. Like that scene in what's the one with Denzel Washington where he's looking for the kidnappers of the little girl.
Club Kid.
No,
Deja vu.
That's the only movie I know.
Not Deja Vu.
Okay.
He's
the bodyguard.
I watch it all the time. What's the movie, Rafi?
Yeah,
I'm terrible at that.
I love that movie. He's a bodyguard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And-
I know what you're talking about.
and
I know the movie. I can't remember
Dakota
the. Yeah,
Fanning.
Dakota Fanning. I've seen it
What's
like a
the
couple
name?
times. I can't remember the name
It's
of the
not
name.
Deja Vu.
Can you Google that, somebody? Anyway, there's a scene in there where he blows up a club, and they're all just standing out there and just fire. Anyway, there's levels, so I go in and there's another level, and I always go down. If you know from the Kyoki story,
Right.
My instinct is to
go the wrong direction.
Man on fire. If there's a hole, I go down.
Right.
I just naturally like to do that, so I go down into the next level.
And you've made it to 50.
I made it to 51.
That's
and,
so
and
good.
I go down there, and there's
impressive.
chicks with like scantily cladded chicks on bars slinging fire and shit.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, this is the right level for me. I like this.
Right.
And so I go up to the bar. I see White Lily from Wisconsin over here, and I lose the kid. I don't know where the hell he is. And I lose everybody. I'm just sitting at the bar. I'm just buying people fucking shots. And I'm the only white dude in the, standing out. I'm flashing money, being a dumbass.
Well, this is a church mission, so you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah. And so then I noticed all these nice looking ladies, and they're surrounding me, nudging up against me, rubbing against me, and I go, ladies of the night. And then it's the next day.
Oh.
And I'm fucking throwing up, like I'm dying, like I'm fucking dying. I'm not exaggerating. Like your worst hangover times 500. Like I think I died.
Yeah. And you still have both your kidneys?
Yeah. So the driver, what I heard later was, and the last vision I had before that was the White Lily chick from Wisconsin sweating her ass off, tonguing the shit out of some dude in the corner, and then I pass out. And I was like, and then I wake up the next day, and apparently the driver found me in the bushes or something, and he fucking got me. And I had my passport down my underwear, and my shoes were gone. The typical bullshit.
Yeah, these are stories just handed down to your grandkids on to, like they're like family heirlooms. I love them. So good.
So you've been everywhere, and one of my favorite childhood memories is waking up and watching the Jonestown massacres. No, I'm just.
So I've drank so much Kool-Aid. So much Kool-Aid.
Rafi says no. So
where were you when you?
So I mean, you and I have talked about a lot of shit. We've been a lot of places. You've been a lot of places. One of my favorite. You're telling me about, was it Guyana, where the dude gave the Kool-Aid to all the people?
Yeah, close.
Jonestown.
Close. Yeah, it might as well have been. That might have been a better experience.
That was, wasn't it? Is that a real place?
We weren't in Jonestown.
Do they really call it that?
I don't. All I know is there was Kool-Aid and people died, and and sneakers. Yeah,
you're too young, probably.
No, I was a little younger for it, so I don't know exactly the whole ins and outs. It was just dude. Guyana's a weird fucking place altogether. It does, that story fits for that area because it nothing like it's one place I've gone and shot, and we did an episode for Nat Geo Wild down there on that Shane Untamed show, and it was nothing but bullshit from the time in which we left, from the time that we thankfully got back, because it was like the guy that was sending us down there was a Nat Geo explorer, and he's like, dude, this place it's fucking rad. It's crazy. You're going to have a show. I'm going to hook you up with this guy. I hook up with this guy, and he's like, oh, you need me to I want you to send me this money. I need you to send me a fucking sleeping bag and a watch. And he have a list of shit, and I'm like, okay, all right,
Girl Scout cookies.
Here's your shit, like this is really fucking weird. And we get down there, and it's like, okay, well, you're gonna have to pay all your porters. We're gonna have if we're gonna take all this gear into the jungle and shoot a show. The whole intent was to go into the deep into the jungle and fucking climb this Tepui, which is a flat topped mountain, and then fucking be the first to descend into this sinkhole that's on the top of it.
Nobody's ever done that.
So no one had been in the sinkhole.
Did you do it?
And we didn't even fucking get close to doing it. Like, all we did was deal with bullshit there. Get a
I
drink.
think we were talking about this because I said I wanted to go there, and you're like, no, you don't.
Yeah, don't. Nobody wants to fucking go there. Nobody wants to go there. It literally, we got there and it was, you know, he had another list of shit that he needed, you know, just random shit. And it's like, okay, well, I need to get cash. And in Guyana, at the time at least, the biggest bill they have equivalent to American cash is $10. That's the biggest bill you can get. And it was going to cost at least 10 grand to pay porters. And of course, they don't take credit cards and shit. You know, I'm going to have to pay them each, like probably 20 porters. So we're going to have to pay them cash daily. So I got to get a fucking like $20,000 worth of cash, Guyanese bills. And they're like, oh, yeah, okay, so I'm going to send a driver, and they send it over, and we go over there, and like we go into this fucking like this private airplane hangar.
Did you guys film that?
And like we took some pictures, but because we expected to just go to a bank and get money. And we go in there, and these fucking guys come in, sit in on either side of the car. Like, it goes into the hangar, they close the fucking door, and it's like dark, and the lights come on, and the guys come and sit down on the in with us, and we're just like, what the fuck? Or, you know, and they have this bag of fucking cash. So you can imagine $20,000 worth of $10 bills is like a giant sack of cash, and fucking just dumps it right there, you know. And like this, and I'm fucking, these guys are gonna fucking kill me. And like, so that's how we do our cash transaction. We go into the jungle. It's supposed to be, we get about 3 or 4 days into the jungle, and this dude that's handling the porters and asking for watches and all this fucking random shit. He's from Trinidad, by the way. He's not even from Guyana. Yeah. He's just this fucking weird dude that the Nat Geo Explorer kind of suggested we work with. And so we, you know, basically had me kind of raising the price to a point in which within 3 days we had handed out all the cash.
So you didn't make it to the single?
So we got, all the porters like, oh, you're out of money, we're out of here. You know?
Want to watch this episode?
Yeah. And we had an episode, and that was the whole intent, was to climb this Tepui and do this whole thing. And like, the government had a fucking helicopter on standby to pick us up when we were done. And then, but I had double the amount they said it was going to cost to pay the porters to get there. Like, everything was set up, and all this shit was shot on camera. And so we, you know, and we're doing it along the way, and then all of a sudden we're out of money, and all the porters fucking leave. So now we're stuck at this waterfall in the middle of the Guyanese jungle, and they're like, we're gonna have to fucking leave, like me and my climbing guides and all this shit. And they're like, we're just gonna fucking go. And so we just carry what we can to continue shooting, and enough food to get us back. And it takes us like fucking 7 days to walk backwards. What it took 3 days, you know, without getting lost and all that shit, and like having to paddle through a river for fucking forever. And like, it was nonstop bullshit. And when I came back, I was like fucking, like, I weigh about 150 usually. I came back weighing like 132. Like, I ended up losing like 20 pounds in like 2 weeks. The first project I ever did with Travel Channel was Not Your Average Travel Guide. And we were doing an episode in Prague. And we wanted to do a scene for how to properly do an absinthe shot, because they have real absinthe there, right? And they're like, and so Travel Channel was like, okay, yeah, you're not allowed to do it yourself on camera. It's like, I'm the fucking host. Like, why can't I show? And it's legal here. So like, why can't we fucking do it? And they're like, just facilitate it with some people at the bar, you know, and shit. And I'm like, that's fucking stupid. And we shot the scene, we put it, you know, I put it together, and it didn't even make the show, because I was just like, if I'm not going to be the one doing the fucking shot, that's fucking stupid. And then like a week later, Anthony Bourdain airs, and he's in Paris, and he's in an underground club doing absinthe shots illegally. And I'm like, God damn it. Like, what? I mean, obviously, who the fuck am I to say, you know, I'm going to do this and fuck you. I was just like, okay, whatever. I'll do whatever you tell me. But, you know, but that dude always did whatever the fuck he wanted to, you know, like he when he went to CNN, it was CNN, right? When he went over to CNN to do that, others from Travel Channel, like Travel Channel didn't even fucking know. until it's like, oh, by the way, I'm moving over to CNN.
I don't know what kind of deal the show changed though. It got like, I think he basically just, I don't know the story, but I think it went something like they wanted him and he's like, I'll do it. It's my show. I do what the fuck I want.
Yeah, he was their golden boy. Like when we went there, if this was in 2006 was when the first time I flew into Travel Channel headquarters, and they were kind of giving us the initiation of like, this is where we're going with this, because at that point I think it was mostly like they were showing mostly like World Series poker tour back then, so they wanted to get back into travel.
Yep.
You know, like, and this is the guy.
Oh yeah.
You know, this is Anthony Bourdain, and he's the shit, and you got to emulate this kind of thing, and so, you know, and I think bottom line was that, you know, Anthony Bourdain, just one, he was successful, he was great at what he did, but he didn't give a fuck, obviously.
Yeah, I think the cool thing about him too, for me, maybe I resonated because he's an addict and I was an addict.
Right.
And I love listening to his stories. I worked in restaurants as a kid. You did. We all grew up working as busboys and seafood restaurants and shit, as he did.
Yeah.
Doing coke with the busboys and the waitresses.
He was relatable.
He could relate
Super
to the dude,
relatable.
and he was just like, you feel like you knew him. It was cool.
Yeah.
Same with this guy, Action Bronson. You see him on the street, and everyone's like, hey, Action. And he just will hang out with you. He's like, he's accessible.
Right.
And I think that's attractive.
Yeah.
You know, that's really cool. But now there's so many people have done it, and very few people do it right. And that show alone, we were talking about that show alone, my new obsession. I'm on season 3 right now, where they drop 10 for you. Those, I'm probably late to the party, but they drop 10 people off in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Rafe, you're gonna watch this shit tonight with me. She just flew in from Mexico. She hasn't seen it. I'm gonna catch.
Ready to binge.
The cool thing about this, you can pick up anywhere, and it's the same shit. Oh, I miss my kids. I can't make it. I can't catch fish. I'm starving. I'm a pussy. Like, I'm tapping out. Like, they put 10 people out in the middle of fucking nowhere, and then they just go, see ya. Here's your camera. Film yourself, and here's a sat phone. If shit goes bad, we'll come pick you up.
Right.
And then they never tell you when anyone else is tapped out, and it's a real mind fuck. It's awesome.
Yeah.
But to me, it doesn't seem that fucking hard. Like, the longest person's stayed on there is like 76 days. It's like, how fucking hard is that? Like, people have lived in a raft in the ocean for 100 days eating their own butthole. You know, it's like, these guys are catching salmon and living in a fucking yurt and have a sat phone, and I miss my kids, and they go home.
Yeah, I can tell you just from when we were stuck in the Guyanese jungle, we definitely got to stages where it was like some people, you know, there's only like 4 of us, and we're hawking out as much shit as we can. We had to leave like 20 grand worth of gear in the fucking
I don't need
jungle.
These cameras anymore.
Yeah,
there was
like,
one
take
guy,
what you can.
I was watching your show. I think it wasn't Guyana, but I remember watching the show, and then I immediately texted you like, hey man, if you ever need a guy to like, I'll film for you. Like, I'll go, because I think I could do that.
Yeah.
And there was some guy, I think he was English, and he was you were somewhere. It was cool too. I can't remember. It was a jungle atmosphere. And I wish I could remember where you were, but I remember going, man, that's fucking cool. And you were there, nothing was going as planned, and you were bumming. And like, something bad had happened. This pussy was sitting in this. He was your camera guy.
I think it was actually the climbing guide. He was, and they were button heads with the camera guy. And they were button heads.
But he was like, "Fuck this, mate. I want to go home."
Yeah.
And they were send his ass home.
That was same camera guy got a stick impaled in his leg in Madagascar with me. And he was just like, "Oh, Shane, I got a stick in my leg." You know, like, the dude was tough.
So
was a pretty fucking tough guy.
I misjudged.
No, what was going on was that guy was butting heads with the climbing guide.
So you edited him to make him look like a pussy.
I edited what I had, because we literally didn't have like the crew.
So what you're saying is you didn't like this guy. That's what you're saying. And you edited him to make him look like a fucking girl.
I just edited what had happened.
God, that's cold.
That's all it was.
That's cold.
Like, that was about as real as it was. But I will say he's a tough dude. He's a very, very tough dude, and he was just like, "Yeah, you want to just pull the stick out?"
What's this?
But
I'm Shane backpedaling.
yeah. No, I'm not even being political about it. Like, those two were butting heads because one of them was just saying, you need to drop all your shit and we need to get the fuck out of here. We're in survival mode. And then the cameraman was
Listen,
like,
mate, it's tea time.
And and he's like, dude, I'm not leaving my camera.
Yeah.
And then I'd step in and go, I don't feel like we're in survival mode yet.
Yeah.
You know?
Not yet.
So I agree. We're not going to fucking leave cameras. I'm not stepping out of this jungle with nothing.
Yeah.
You know? So let's just fucking all relax and keep moving forward. And like, ultimately we all got out of there like in good spirits and, you know, shaking hands. But like, it's fucking crazy because you know, like you're saying, it's easy to watch these shows and be like, man, it can't be that fucking hard. Fucking pussy.
Me out there,
dude,
with a fire stick.
And to me, it seems like it would be easier if you signed up for it. You know, like we were in a situation that we hadn't signed up for on the back end of it, and there were times where it was like, you know, fuck, I was like recording video diaries in case I was gonna fucking die. You know, and I'm just like, I'm fucking bumming, but I didn't.
You looked like you're about to fucking cry.
But I didn't have
watching it on TV. I was like, hey, this is my friend Shane. He's on, like, real TV.
It never got to that point, but it got to a point where it was like, I'm fucking worried. I don't know. We don't really have a choice. We just have to keep fucking stepping one foot after the other. But it definitely, you know, I look at that kind of shit, and then I look at these like Naked and Afraid and Alone and all these things, and I'm like, fuck. Like, you know, after doing that, like, I feel like this stuff would be so much easier than it would be for most people. But, you know, but I also respect the fact that, like, I'm not as much of a survivalist as some of these people are, and have the skills that they have.
Maybe it's being because we live in Florida that it's like I know how to catch a motherfucking fish. Like, you're born, it's like, you know how to catch a fish. They give you line.
Yeah.
They give you fucking hook. There's shit everywhere. It's like, it's not hard.
Yeah. Yeah, I would.
You know? And that also, I just thought about something, another bullshit place that you've been to that I learned about in rehab. Because I shared a bunk with this Army Ranger, a paramedic, not a paramedic, what do you call those Rangers? Paratrooper. And he was a bad son of a bitch. He was like 23, and we'd sit up all night in our cot, so we slept together in our rooms, and we would sit up all night swapping stories. Well, all I had was photo shoot. Man, one time I got carried off a plane in New York, and I was puking. And he's like, well, one time, I mean, he had real shit.
Yeah,
like,
real stories.
One time I was kidnapped in Djibouti, or he was talking about Djibouti, the worst place on the planet that he had ever been to. And he had been, the stories this guy had at 23 was like fucking shit you wouldn't, I mean, it would take 100-year-old most of it, you know, it was crazy. And he'd be like, Djibouti, number one biggest shithole I've ever been to in my life. Fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And he would tell me these horror stories of like shit I can't even talk about on camera.
Right.
But then I'm watching TV. I think you were there, and were you whale shark diving in Djibouti?
Looking for whale sharks.
And then you dove in the water, and you were talking to your mom from in the water next to a whale shark, telling your mom, talking to your fucking mom on a cell phone. Under the water in a mask or some shit, swimming with a fucking whale shark. I was like, God damn you motherfucker. Like, talk about like one-upping shit. I was like, God damn it. Like, that's badass. You know, like, fucking, no big deal. Hey, Mom, what's up? Where you at? I'm in Djibouti fucking swimming with a goddamn whale shark.
Dude, it's funny you bring that up, too, because Djibouti's a really good example of... Djibouti. What's up in Djibouti?
Yeah.
So, yeah, right? I'm surprised you didn't remember that, of all people.
I thought it was Djibouti, like Jumanji.
Djibouti.
What's up in Djibouti?
Djibouti. Yeah, and it's right there on the Horn of Africa. Mm-hmm. Yeah, see, it's even better. But it's like it's insanely beautiful. Like it's a really, really badass place, and that's a really good example. Like places like that, Djibouti, Saudi Arabia. We were there a couple years ago. El Salvador, we go to like every year. You know, like I think when I started doing Color Earth, that was kind of the the process behind it. Like my mission was to kind of find these places that everybody, when you ask people like, should I go to this place or should I go to that place? It's like, fuck that. That place is a fucking shithole, you know, but you know better if you look outside of it. I mean, living here, we live in a very military oriented place, you know, so most of the people I grew up with had some sort of ties to that. And you know, I respect all their service and everything that they do. Their input on my travels typically are, you know, like, I'm going to Saudi Arabia. What do you think? Don't fucking go.
Oh yeah, because
this place fucking sucks.
My favorite.
You're gonna hate it.
Exactly. Why are you fucking going there?
Right, but the thing is, you know, not all military, but most military are in the worst part of whatever country they're in, dealing with the worst bullshit that country has to offer, and they stay within the confines of that bullshit.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you go and avoid the bullshit and you travel smart and you do, you know, those kind of things, you find a country that you're like, dude, everyone said this sucked, and it's fucking amazing.
Yeah. To go on to that, 2004, I don't know. So one of my best friends, I worked at the Marriott with him in Boston when I was in school. This dude named Elias taught me how to say like Yachra Allah Humbi Ali Shalmuta. Like he would just walk around saying that shit all the time, so it's like ingrained in my head.
Right.
Well, he adopted these 2 Colombian kids from like fucking Colombia.
Yeah, really?
But when I was working with him at the Marriott, when I was my godson, and what's up, Andreas? I'm sure he's listening. He's fucking awesome. He lives in Boston till now. He's like in his late 20s. Like this was a long time ago. But in 2004, I was invited to go to Lebanon because Elias is from Lebanon. He was going to take his kids and have them baptized in Lebanon. They're Christians. Yeah. And so I was like, in 2004, my little brother Danny's a Green Beret. He's in Iraq, like on the border of the Bekaa Valley.
Right. And
so I'm like, I tell my wife, should I have been invited to Beirut? Should I go? And she's like, fuck, man, go. Like, that'd be awesome. I didn't, this is before a lot of technology. Didn't know much about it. And so I just did that, just booked it. Bam, just booked the ticket. Right. And then I'm getting like travel warnings, you know how you get those things and stuff. And, but I go there and I got to tell you, it is the best experience. So it was a crazy story. It was the best experience I've ever had. The people were the nicest, the coolest city I've ever been to. I got tattooed by the Hezbollah. Like, the people we fear, like in America, the Hezbollah. Like, you went to this town in Beirut, and there's like this giant Hezbollah sign. And I was like, oh my God, those are the terrorists that are like killing everyone. Yeah. Well, as I find out more about it, it's not. It's not. It's just they're an Islamic resistance in Lebanon, and there's certain, you know, people fucking shit up. Right. Well, they caught wind that I wanted a tattoo. They all heard there was an American in the town, which is a good and a bad thing because some people want to fucking kill me. And they had the Syrian army at the time. There was all these blown out buildings because of the civil war in Beirut. You know, there's every other building is just fucking blown up. So in those buildings, they had allowed the Syrian armies to, like, they had posted up in those buildings, like, just got armed Syrians. I don't know the political shit that was happening at the time. Right. It was right before they got kicked out, ejected from Lebanon. Yeah. But I was partying with all the Syrians, learning their, like, salutes, drinking at the clubs, drinking the Arak shit, smoking, like, what fucking opium or whatever they smoked down there. And then they heard that I wanted a tattoo because they saw my tattoos. And so my friend Elias goes, I got this guy, he says he can get a tattoo. He goes, I'm going with you because I don't really know them and blah, blah. So it's some guy in the Hezbollah army regime, whatever that thing is. So they all have machine guns. It's common. So it's not unique to see everyone with a machine gun. They all have them in their trunks. I got picked up from the airport by Elias's brother in a Mercedes, of course. Yeah. And he's playing fucking George, and I still listen to this fucking guy's music because it was such a great experience. This artist is named George Vassouf, and it was like, and fucking like you cry when you listen to it. And we're driving. So my first impression driving, he picks me up at the airport. It's just fucking a desert. I get in this car. I sit in the back seat of the car. He shows me his machine guns in case there's trouble.
Right.
We're safe.
Right.
He wants me to feel safe. I'm like, okay, cool.
Right.
I get in the car. And we start driving off, and I see his eyes in the mirror, and he hears me put on my seatbelt, and his fucking demeanor changes very quickly, and my friend Elias looks back at me and gives me a weird look. I'm like, and then we drive home, and his brother walks in the house. He goes, "Don't you ever fucking do that. You disrespected my brother." I'm like, "What the fuck did I do?" He's like, "You put your seatbelt on that tells him that you don't trust his driving." Whatever.
Yeah.
That was my introduction to the. But then anyway, back to the Hezbollah story. So this guy, so we're in this. There's an army, like they have like these little kind of army areas where there's soldiers and shit. I don't know the setup because I can't tell who's who. I don't know what's what.
Right.
Everyone's nice, but there's different kind of military, and some are good and some are bad.
Right.
I'm with my friend, and I just trust that I'll be okay. I've been in worse scenarios.
Did they have hooded military? Any hooded?
No. But one of the military guys, he takes me. He goes, "I got a guy." And speaking in Arabic, tells my friend, "I found a guy who's gonna give Sean a tattoo." So then we go down this fucking alley, and my friend starts looking scared, and he looks at me like, "Fuck." Like, and the guys go behind us, and they have guns, and I'm like, "Oh fuck, this is the part where
it's not good.
Now I'm gonna get, I'm fucked."
Yeah.
And we go back to this room, and it's an internet cafe, but we go in the back door of this internet cafe, and there's a room with a little carpet on the ground. A chick, very attractive woman, jeans, not your normal kind of Arabic woman.
Right.
And her husband, who's in the military, but he's in regular clothes for some reason. He also runs this fucking thing. He's not a tattoo artist, but he's an artist. And that some higher up in the military has realized this guy has artistic skills, so he has him do different things for the military, like, I don't know, draw shit that they need. So he just goes, "Oh, he can make the tattoo." So he tells the guy to make a tattoo for me. So I go in. First of all, he had made the gun and had it ready. He had made it out of like a clock and some couple wires, a little fucking battery, like one of those square ones. What are those? I don't know. He had some wires connected to it, some super glue, and some sewing needles, some shit like that. And then he goes, "What kind of tattoo do you want?" And I go, "I don't know. I like chicks, big boobs, and fucking machine guns." And he goes, he was a little bummed out because I said I wanted the belly dancer, and he bummed out because belly dancers aren't in their culture. They were in a different culture. But he was nice enough to just, he's like, "Fuck it, I'll just throw a skirt on her or whatever."
You basically went downtown and said, "Give me a fucking butterfly."
Yeah, but so he's like, fuck. So he draws this rudimentary chick.
Right.
I have it. It's on my arm. Anyway, draw this rudimentary chick with a Kalashnikov. That's their machine gun they use.
Yeah.
And then he wrote in Arabic over it, which I didn't know what the fuck that meant at the time. And it takes a long time. It's real low voltage. So it's like like the fucking needle's like,
Right.
And then it kind of breaks for a minute, and he like repairs it and gets it done.
Like a fucking old Morse code machine.
Yeah. But he gets it done. It's a cool tattoo, and it says in Arabic, "God help us." I thought that was kind of
that's cool.
That's kind of interesting.
That is cool.
And then when they gave me a stack of T-shirts, brand new T-shirts, and they go, "Take this home to America with you and tell them that we're not all terrorists."
Right.
And that was their message to me, for whatever that meant.
Yeah.
And I still have them. I'll post a picture of the shirt online, but it just has a fist, and it says Islamic resistance. So there's a lot of shit going on that we don't know about that has nothing to do. I don't want to turn this into political things. I still don't really understand it. But anyway, so then I had to leave like 2 days later. I never cry when I leave a place, but I was emotional when I left this place for whatever fucking reason. And I remember having a last dinner and like getting emotional, and everyone that I met would give me gifts. just because they wanted to hang out with me. One dude gave me a hookah pipe. One guy gave me the shit that goes in a hookah pipe, which is this fruit that's in these baggies. Looks like fucking drugs, some kind of drugs. Looks fucked up,
Right.
like squishy black tar heroin, really. And then I bought these soap that was made by hand by these people, and they make them into circles, and they put them in wax paper and twist the top.
Right.
So it either looks like a bomb or fucking heroin. And they had like 10 of those. Then I had the hookah pipe shit. Then I had the hookah pipe. Then I had those shirts. Then I had a bullet casing that someone gave me. Then I had a dagger that someone gave me.
Yeah.
And then there was a couple of other things.
And, and how much of that made it home?
Okay. So then I go home. Dude, I remember this was like the fucking scene. I know I do a lot of movie references, but fuck it. Was it Dances with Wolves at the end where he's like, "You are my brother."
Yeah.
He's screaming to him as he's leaving. It's like super gnarly. "You're my brother." You know, blah, blah. I'm leaving, and there's this glass wall, and this kid that I become friends with was like, he's saying the same, "You're my brother, come back, please come back," and all this shit. I was like fucking crying. I was like, man, this is heavy. And I left, and then I'm detoxing on the plane home, like from all the shit that I've been ingesting for that last 10 days or whatever. I get to LA, and God, I got a lot of airport like fake drug stories.
I got some of those too.
Jesus Christ, we can do this. But I get home and I'm sweating, and I'm going through the line, and you go through customs, and your shit goes through the big, you know, and I remember this really attractive Asian lady standing there, and she's looking at the screen, and I go, and my shit goes through, and she's just looking at the screen, and she just goes, and then like motions to people, and a bunch of other people start coming, and then more of them come over, and they're looking, and then she looks at me, and then she goes, "Okay, everything's okay, just be calm, you're gonna go over here with officer blah blah blah," and we go into this back room, metal table. "Sir, can you please take off your shirt and your pants, and just everything's fine, it's cool, we're just gonna, you know, we want to check your bags." I'm like, fuck. And then I'm thinking of that shit, like where people put shit in other people's bag. I'm like, oh man. And then I'm like, man, do I have drugs in my, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm freaking out. They lay all the shit on the table. Wax balls, hookah pipe shit, hookah pipe, bullet, dagger, fucking propaganda shirts.
Yeah.
They're like, "Why are you in Beirut? Vacation?" That's what I said. And they're like, "Are you fucking, what the fuck is wrong with you?" You know, my brother was in a tank fucking 60 miles away from where I was at.
Yeah.
Like fighting. And I'm like, in retrospect, but I was there for a baptism. But in retrospect, I was kind of an asshole there partying and doing all this shit.
Right.
You know, whatever. But they're like, they looked at all the shit. I mean, one at a time, and they're like, it is legal, I suppose, but stupid. Each one of them are so fucking stupid. And I don't know how you're the luckiest guy in the world or the dumbest.
Right.
But I made it back.
Yeah.
Fucking.
Dude, and that is like the fucking, that's like the perfect example of, like, you know, you're over here just partying, seeing this really fucking amazing, inspirational, you know, human scene in this foreign country. You know, your brother's you know, right down the road seeing the exact fucking opposite. You know, and I feel like that's kind of the whole problem of where we're at today in terms of just, you know, different world views, you know, because when I travel, I typically try to find the prettiest and the nicest and the funnest and the greatest, and yes, I've had way more people being nice to me and welcoming and making me feel like I'm not an asshole, you know, than I have otherwise. Then I've had people being a dick to me. You know, and on the other side of things, you know, there's people that just have to deal with the reality of the bullshit that is in any of these fucking countries, you know. So I think it's important that, like, I know you have as well, like, you got to step into those arenas every now and then just to keep a regular sense of what reality is. You know, like I was in Albania for the Kosovo thing doing a documentary on a fucking karaoke guy. There was a, or a leprosy colony in the Philippines, and just shit that you're just like, God, this fucking sucks, like, and I'm not real good at just doing those things without being able to take a day off and go, let's go look at this volcano.
You want to check it out.
Yeah. When you set foot somewhere, it almost 100% of the time feels 100 times safer than everyone made you feel about it going. Yeah. Like you just kind of go, wait a minute, the sky isn't falling here. I don't really understand why is everybody telling me to be careful?
It's like Belize. Hey, you and I were just in Belize. I don't know. Not just, but I don't know when was that, a year or two ago.
Couple years ago.
And we were and I never heard this, but I've been hearing it lately. That's one of the like top murder places. Like, as a matter of fact, were you there when no, you weren't there when the tsunami was. That you were there before that.
Yeah, I was there the first time y'all went.
When you and I were there, was when you flew your fucking. We were doing man shit episodes.
Yeah.
And Shane and I do this man shit show, or have done a bunch of them. They're really fucking funny. But we were doing a few of them in Belize, and we're doing one about how I hate drones. And you were flying one above this like little town, and you flew it in the top of a palm tree.
Oh, Jesus,
this fucking palm tree.
Christ.
This palm tree was like.
It was like 60 feet in the air.
I thought it was like 100 feet in the air.
It was at least 60 feet in the air.
On a hard-packed beach, and you're like street tripping out because it's your brand new drone.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there like, fucking hate drones, and you're interviewing me, and I'm like, da-da-da, and then you hit the top of the palm tree. It was like perfect for the show, but you're bumming, and you're stuck up there, and this little kid, probably 16, on a little bike. And he's like, "You want me to get your drone?" And we're like, "What do we say? We'll give you money."
No, we
gave him like $100.
Well, he came up and he was like, "Fucking, hey, it caused a scene. There was already a crowd of people there, and the fucking thing just stuck in the top of the tree, and I could still see things on the thing. Yeah. Like, fuck, what do I do with this now? Like, can we get a ladder? Like, what the fuck?" And this guy, and it's like, I don't know what we're gonna do, but this guy just bikes up and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna go get it," and I was like, "What?" And he's like, I'll go get it. And he fucking goes over to the tree, and I'm like, whoa, you're gonna fucking climb the tree and get it? And he's like, yeah, I'm gonna climb the tree and get it. And I'm like, no, don't fucking do that. And the guy just starts climbing the tree, and I'm fucking sitting there looking at the guy going, oh my God.
So
this guy's gonna fucking die.
Paint the picture, because I'm filming it, like I'm shooting pictures of this. I think I'm shooting stills, and I step back, and Shane wants his drone, but at the same time thinks this guy's gonna die, like for real.
Yeah.
And the fucking guy is slipping.
Yeah.
And we're like,
he's hanging.
Watch this. And there's a wall where if he fell, he'd just break himself in like half.
Yeah. He was dead if he fell.
This kid, we're about to watch a dude die. This is not fucking funny for a drone.
Right.
And he makes it to the top, and then he grabs on. He fucking slips. And he's holding on by one hand, 60 feet there, by like a palm frond. And then Shane he grabs the drone with the other hand, so now both hands are busy. And Shane's like, don't drop my drone.
I didn't say
you
that.
You did.
No.
You're like, no, don't drop it. You want him to like hold it down or something. I remember you saying, don't drop my drone. I want to see the footage on that. And like now it's like, fuck it, I'm gonna get my drum and it's gonna be smashing 1,000 fucking.
No, I think at that point, no, I do remember what happened. It was he went up with a fucking rope, right? He had a little string.
Okay.
He went to the top. He's dangling by one hand. And he's he's trying to tie something somehow onto the drone so he can lower the drone down. Yeah. And it was like,
and he kept slipping.
And so it got to this point where it was like, fuck it, man, just drop it. Don't.
We don't want you to die.
I can't have this on my conscience. Like, there's no way to save this fucking dude. I didn't want him up there anyway. Yeah. And so he finally just rips the thing out of the trees, and we all get underneath it, and he drops it, and we try to catch it as gingerly as we can, and it's fucked, whatever. And the kid fucking climbs down, and he's sweating, and he's like, I almost fell.
And then Will gives him like $100, and he goes to the bar and starts buying everybody drinks. The kid's like 16. So as usual, we've gotten off. I'm not gonna say we've gotten off topic because there's no fucking topic, but We've talked about a lot. We've covered it all. As Howard Stern would say, you've said it all. You've said it all. Maybe too much.
Yes, maybe too much. I've officially ruined my chances of running for public office.
No, you haven't.
Or I've
think that
made it more likely.
My goal, my 5-year plan was to be mayor of Fort Walton.
We could start that now. We could kind of.
We just did.
Yeah, just announce the fucking candidacy
now.
Did
I just announce it?
Did you
cat's
just
out of the bag?
Ah.
But I googled it, and there's kind of you got to do shit. Like I think it'd be cool, like if I could just have the title and then just like show up to some meetings and tell them what I think about like certain things. Like let's get rid of some of this Chernobyl-esque racetrack road.
I don't think you're gonna like it because then there's other people that will question you.
Yeah, I don't like that. I like the idea of the title of being the mayor.
Right.
Maybe if I just tell people, I'll just tell people.
It sounds good.
Mayor. Yeah. But so the one thing I did want to touch on that I was going to talk about earlier was we're from Florida. I've been in LA for a million years, but I'm from Fort Walton Beach, Florida. Shane and I both grew up here, and Shane's been working on a documentary for about a decade now about our area, which is mostly known for fishing, Air Force, and tourism, Air Force, military, and fishing.
Yeah,
basically, but heavily a fishing backbone, I would say, in our area. Hurricanes and fishing. So I want to talk. Just tell me a little bit about that bullshit.
That is a good. I'm glad you put it that way because it's been a ton of bullshit. I started this godforsaken project like almost 10 years ago now, and we talked to all the Dewey Destin and Charles Morgan and all the players, all the icons and the legends in the area, and just to get the real story, the historical look at the Emerald Coast, which is, and for us the Emerald Coast is Okaloosa County. And so we talked with all them. We've covered every bit from the military to how the Destin Pass came to be, how the all these different things, right? And basically it ran out of funding. We ran out of money like after a year or two of working on this thing, but I had all this stuff in place already, and I couldn't give up on it. I was like, I'm just going to take it. I'm just going to take it on as a passion project and just finish it in my spare time. And spare time has just not been really readily available. And finally got it finished. It's about an hour long. It fucking covers everything. But I think it's squeezing a lot of information into that hour. So it's not like a typical, like a Ken Burns kind of documentary. But we decided that we were going to try to get it premiered at least and get some of the players in to see it and general public, make it a community event. And we're going to do that at Suds and Cinema on April 4th.
That's gonna be rad.
So we're going to get maybe some live music, maybe some, some stuff like that. And then sell viewing of it online, things like that with like the full interviews, extended scenes, like you name it.
That's cool. And Suds and Cinema, like the cool thing about the town we live in, it's a small town. And when I was a kid in the 70s, in junior high, earliest like 7th grade, like first of all, my building that we're sitting in now that I live in was a dance studio from the 70s that all the little girls used to dance in. Yeah. And then there's the Suds and Cinema where it's still there. It's an old theater where you could eat pizza and smoke cigarettes and drink shitty beer and watch slightly out of date movies. I remember watching Tootsie there when I was a kid on Christmas Day or some shit. And then it kind of went. I remember wanting to buy it. Rafe and I wrote letters at some point. We were trying to buy it to live in it and like turn it into the compound. But then Jamie Neighbors and his brother got it, and those guys have been doing really cool stuff in our town and like kind of revamping a lot of stuff. And
I'm glad they got a hold of it.
They've been doing. I talked with them, Jamie and Bobby. I talked to Bobby. Is it Bobby Neighbors? I talked to him this weekend, and I finally got to chat with him. And they're just doing so many cool things. But they revamped and the Suds and Cinema and didn't like do anything. They just updated it, left it where it was. Right. It's the same format.
But they took the squeaky chairs out and fixed the sound system, and it's
still
way
like
better.
$5.
Yeah,
right?
it's super cheap. You still leave there, like spending a shitload of money because the menu's like, oh, I want some fucking boiled peanuts.
It's $5 to get in, but then
some popcorn's only $5. Okay, yeah, go refills $1. Okay, it's smart how they do it because like you got to have a little bit of everything, and you're like, shit, this movie cost me $40.
But it's a cool experience.
But it's great.
Look, it's a really awesome vibe right downtown Fort Walton. That's going to be mentioned.
But the great thing, I'm actually thankful now that it took so long to do this because it enabled us to kind of incorporate new technology as far as drone shots and things like that, and to find old footage that we've that's gotten into my hands in the last like 5 years, and it's shit that like no one's ever seen.
Cool.
And the timing now is like, I think in 2020, from what I've been told, the TDC is dropping the Emerald Coast moniker from a branding standpoint. So like any of these like water towers and all that shit, I assume are going to get changed up pretty soon.
For what?
I don't know. I think we're just going to be known as Destin Fort Walton now.
Oh man.
So they're going to drop the Emerald Coast, and so to me, like, this thing is debuting right as that name is dying. So it's almost like this memento of an era that's no longer going to exist. But I still think, we all know this is destined for Walton. But I think people like us, we're always going to consider this the Emerald Coast, whether the TDC recognizes that or not. So I think it's going to be a cool thing, and it's a big fucking weight off my shoulders.
Yeah. Walk over there and fucking rage.
Yeah.
Some old shit. It's gonna be killer.
It's going to be fun.
Fucking high five it out, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, let's do 4. We got to do 4 high five, Bluto. Homeless guy.
Bring it. Don't show him your face. Can we try again?
Episode 3. 1, 2, 3. Go.
So what you need to do is
4 dudes, 1 slap. Go.
It's fine.
Son of a bitch.
All right.